Welcome to the Offbeat Business Show. This is Susan Hamilton. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable lunch hour with us. I'm talking to Charlene Johns today and introducing our latest partnership to get the most important resources that we possibly can out to the veteran community. And as you're aware, we believe that the Offbeat Business Show and magazine reaches a business-to-business audience that is the 80% of us, Charlene. The family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. That means we are raising our children, taking care of our seniors, dealing with addicts, and either directly impacted by the positive things a veteran has brought to the table or helping them reintegrate after deployment. So it is really an important thing that we reach out to this particular group of people, and I'm so thrilled with what you've done with Battle Buddy Info. Tell us all about that, Charlene.
Well, I will. Battle-buddy.info, which is our website, is an online, it's a Yelp-style directory or Angie's List. And what I mean by that is that you can find the content that you're looking for presented in a consistent way, as well as you can review the organization. So we are the only one that you can review if an organization has helped you. We also, the other big thing that makes us unique is we were designed by military and their caregivers for military and their caregivers. So it's a very stripped down, very simple, consistent looking site. We do not have any donate now. Here's the 15 reasons why you need to donate for PTSD or suicide or emergency. It is for the end users and not the donors or to get more donors. We are not a 501c3. We are the military initiative of a 501c3. And that allows us to keep that site strictly for the users. We don't charge anybody to list them. We don't generate any revenue on the site. It's just so people can go to the site, just like a directory, like I said, Yelp or Angie's List, find what they need, and then if there is a particular form or application, all the eligibility requirements are on our site up front. If there's a form that they need to fill out, let's say for a service dog or emergency financial assistance, the link directly to that form is on our site. So they don't have to go to that site and then read 15 pages of content to find out, oh, wait, where do I apply? Because websites, I've been in the nonprofit business for over 18 years. I know it's about the money, but when you're trying to assist people, you've got to get them the assistance they need as quick as they need it. So that's kind of what our goal has been, and we've been live for over a year. We have over 75,000 hits on our website, which is tremendous.
It really is.
And we're just like a little grassroots engine that could. We're going to keep going and keep
engine
going.
That can.
Engine that can.
Engine that can.
Absolutely.
So you saw a need out there, and you were inspired to say, you know what, let's cut the garbage because we've got way too much what I call spider webbing when it comes to these resources and all the bureaucratic red tape and the hoops we've got to jump through to get things done. So what amazed me about this list of resources, Charlene, is the vast stretch. I mean, there's really nothing you haven't included. What do you think your total is now? Do you know how many you've got resources on the site?
We have over 500 resources, but we vet the resources. And what I mean by that is not looking at 990s and to see how much money is going where. Our resources are listed because they have provided directly to a veteran, and a veteran or caregiver has recommended them to our site.
Wonderful.
Or at this point, because of our position in social media, organizations connect with us and say, hey, how do we get listed on Battle Buddy? And I explain to them we don't charge for anything, but there has to be a clear communication of who needs to apply, if there's funding, how the eligibility is met, so that when we refer someone to that site, they can get the help they need. It's very clear. It's not like they have to wait 2 weeks and then find out, oh, they only help Marines, or oh, they only help if you're still active duty, or oh, so there's so many eligibility issues, and I totally understand that. I mean, again, I've been in the nonprofit world. I understand you have to narrow your scope.
But we just don't have time for that, and largely that's what
No.
we see. We see that when we're in business and we're faced with a crisis or something that needs to be addressed and answered right away, largely why we become victims of our circumstance, which I don't believe any of us have to be. That's why the Offbeat Business Show and Magazine exists, and that's why Battle Buddy Info exists, I promise you.
Absolutely.
We don't have to be victims of our circumstance, but we do have to be good stewards of the information and the resources at our fingertips and do the very best we can. When you go to the trouble, when you see what's happening in this hamster wheel in our business, we don't have time to really look at the things that are directly hurting us. I mean, really, don't you hear people say all the time, oh, if they would just change everything, if they would make it better. You know, we've got this great big they problem out there, and I believe they is us. Let's go ahead and take some of that responsibility and wisely put it out there so that it's not so freaking difficult to get what you need. Like you said, if they're having to fill out form after form after form and wait 2 weeks before they get an answer only to find out that it didn't work, how much time have you just wasted? And I'm here to tell you, I know what that means in business. That takes away your ability to focus. You're really working at a partial capacity because this other issue is really huge and it needs addressing. And you see issues of every scope. What would you say are some of the things that you'd like to bring to our audience's attention, and maybe something that's near and dear to your heart?
Well, let me just interject on something that you commented on, is that the military culture is trained to suck it up, buttercup, and move on. And so for them to ask for help is a huge hurdle. For them to accept help is a huge hurdle.
Wow.
So the point when their caregiver or the soldier himself is actually seeking assistance, it's a 911 issue. Nobody other than 911 operates with that sense of emergency. Hence, you have the extraordinary, catastrophic number of suicides in the military today. I was just looking up, and I posted it on our Facebook page. I started working with the military in 2008, and through our nonprofit, we were doing warrior getaways. I have a faith-based ministry, and we were doing getaways for the entire family. This was not being done there was lots of activities for the military and wounded warriors, but there was not something that included the whole family with their children.
It's so necessary. I feel the same way about even reentry field. How do you solve one problem
if you're not addressing
the whole thing?
If you're not doing it in a holistic way? So when this was happening, and I'm hearing all these stories from the caregivers, from the soldiers, from the kids, Time Magazine in March of 2011, the cover of Time Magazine was a lone soldier silhouette on the hill. That the title of the magazine cover, national, 1 a day. Okay, that was 2011. Now, fast forward to March of 2015. The government is owning 22 suicides a day at this point, which Texas doesn't. Texas is one of the states that doesn't even segregate veteran population in their suicide reports. So it's actually, and we have the third highest number of military personnel in our state.
Curious.
So all that being said, this big number that keeps getting thrown around from time to time, 22 a day or 22 plus 1, which includes active duty, isn't even the true number. Now, so when you take into consideration, okay, let's just give it 22 a day or 23 a day, and then you say that one person has 11 direct individuals that are impacted by anything they do, good or bad. So now you multiply that 23 times 11 times 365, you get over 90,000 individuals that are impacted by lack of resources. And that can include mental health resources. That can include emergency assistance resources. That can include, PTSD awareness, help, all those things, because they are truly the internally displaced persons of this generation of soldiers who went to war. So internally displaced persons, because our ministry worked in the third and fourth world, I'm very familiar with internally displaced persons. I came back to the United States, started working with soldiers, and saw the disconnect between their culture and the civilian culture. And it was like, wait a minute, they were cut off from their tribe, being the military, just like you see internally displaced persons are people that are forced to leave their tribal natural comfort area and put into a completely different foreign environment that they're comfortable with or used to or know how to operate. So they encounter the same kind of dysregulating behaviors, and then coupled with many times catastrophic injuries. So they're not the typical person that gets injured in a car wreck that had a 9-to-5 job, or that had these, that had a normal, typical civilian kind of life, family, community.
When they're returning after a crisis, they're returning to something that's a stable and a familiar thing. And in the military, the familiarity has become something else.
It's gone.
Right? They're familiar with a different... So there's a difference. They're familiarities over here and communities over here.
And it's gone.
And they're having trouble with that.
It's absolutely gone.
And I'm seeing some wonderful groups out there that are helping with using animals.
Oh, absolutely.
There's
a lot of different kinds of assistance that is unique and that is working, that is documented to be effective in those arenas. But I mean, IAVA, which is Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, is one of the largest associations, national presence, big advocates for that group of communities. I work with veterans here in Dallas all the time, and I say, well, post 9/11 veterans, I say, are you a member of IAVA? Never even heard of it.
Right. I just heard of it 2 days ago.
And I was like, you're a you're a post 9/11 veteran. How do you not know the biggest organization?
My daughter is a Marine, and I didn't know.
Yeah. So there again, because there's a disconnect between the civilian population and the military population, they don't know who to ask, and we don't know who to tell to get it out there. So we're really fighting hard to say the resources are out there. We're going to try to make it as easy as possible to get you the help you need.
I love that.
We're going to try to make it to connect with you to where you know you're being heard, you know you're not alone. We're going to get you connected with the military that's transitioning into your civilian communities to where you're not this untethered, valuable, productive person of society that's just a little bit disenfranchised at the time. So it's a big, daunting task, but every day, we hear from veterans all across the country that are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was out there available. I didn't know this was out there available. So that's our goal, and we're going to see it stopped.
Well, friends, I hope you're enjoying this conversation with Charlene Johns with Battle Buddy Info as much as I am. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the types of resources that Battle Buddy Info offers. This is Susan Hamilton. This is the Offbeat Business Show, and we'll be right back.
You're on a mission to make a difference for your business, for your family, and for your community, and Philanthropy Focus can get you there safely for long-term success. Hi, my name is John Gilchrist, and I help small businesses and nonprofit organizations develop the fundraising plans to match the vision for your nonprofit's future. Many nonprofits struggle with fundraising, and without a sustainable revenue plan, they simply cannot fulfill their dreams and provide the much-needed services to the communities that they serve. Use my 30 years experience in fundraising strategy, board development, staff training, feasibility studies, and executive coaching to create the most successful nonprofit possible. The key is aligning your mission to your donors' passions. Philanthropy Focus develops the programs that can make your nonprofit's dream a reality for you and your clients. and I look forward to growing the nonprofit sector as your partner. Call me, John Gilchrist, with Philanthropy Focus at 469-215-1651. Fundraising strategy, planning, coaching, and success. Discover more at www.philanthropyfocus.net and call me today at 469-215-1651. Be sure to look for our ad in the Offbeat Business Magazine.
Are you running out of hot water halfway through your shower? Or even worse, having sewer water rising up in your drains? Don't panic. Help is only a phone call away. Family owned and operated, Gary's Quality Plumbing will make your plumbing repair issues hassle-free. My name is Steve Skinner, and my dad built his company with the idea of giving our customers the best possible service at a fair price. Gas, water, sewer, repairs, and new installs. We do it all, and we do it right. So give us a call at 972-424-6479. That's Gary's Quality Plumbing at 972-424-6479. And look for our ad in the Offbeat Business Magazine. That's Gary's Quality Plumbing. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Susan Hamilton, and you've been listening to the Offbeat Business Show. We're back after a short break. I'm sharing Charlene Johns with you and our recent partnership to make sure that we are sharing all of the resources of Battle Buddy info through the Offbeat Business Magazine in a 2-page spread with live links to the resources that you may very well find yourself needing. We say this because the Offbeat Business Show and Magazine is all about building up the business-to-business platform, improving American business influence locally, nationally, and abroad. And that includes the 80% of us that are family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. That means that we are building our businesses while we're raising our kids, taking care of our seniors, impacted greatly by a veteran that is bringing some excellence to the table, or we're concerned because maybe they're not integrating very well, or maybe they've had an injury after deployment. And we need to make sure that we are giving them the resources that they need, because we all know that right now, counting on the levels of garbage you have to wade through with bureaucracy today, we just don't believe we have to be dependent on them. We believe that if we band together and share this with the maximum amount of people, that's you, share it with you, then you'll have the resources that you need. And we ask you, friends, if you know someone who needs this information, share it. If this is not you, chances are you know somebody who needs to know where they can find resources that they don't have to jump through hoops to find. They don't have to wait 2 weeks after applying to find out they didn't really fit the bill or qualify. So what we're doing with Battle Buddy info is we have decided that every 3 months we are going to be sharing a new batch of the resources of over 500 vetted resources on battle-buddy.info that Charlene Johns has just poured her heart into, making sure these resources go directly to the veteran or the caregiver in a responsible, quick manner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, we said earlier that there's a lot of alternative, unique organizations that are out there to provide assistance, aside from the VA, aside from, some organizations that are springing up under the Department of Defense. So, the organizations on Battle Buddy info are national. We do also have local resources listed that are localized resources. We don't have a map on there because we try to really put organizations that aren't limited to geography or where the veteran in particular is located. We want organizations that can assist veterans across the country. We get all kinds of requests thinking that Battle Buddy is the resource. We're the resource for resources. So while we can help you, look for resources, or we can quickly identify, because I have vetted all these and read all their content, I have been blessed with a very good memory, so I can tell you, okay, there's an organization in Kalamazoo that does this that might be able to help you. The other area that we look at is really making sure that those resources get to veterans to help stem the tide of this catastrophic number of suicides. Because when you think there's a whole generation, look, military people, they have lots of kids. So if you think that there's all these young post 9/11 veterans coming back that have children, that have spouses, and I'm not even speaking of the catastrophically injured veterans. I'm talking about just combat veterans. So they've got these spouses. A lot of times they're young. A lot of times they have young kids. Well, they come back. There's anger management issues. There's all kind of transitioning issues that that they're facing, and 90% of combat veteran marriages end in divorce. So that's quite a bit higher than the national statistic. So 90%. So now you've got 90% of their military dependents living in broken families. They're seeing not only how their parent was different when they came back, but they're also seeing how society in general treated them. They're seeing how the government treated them. They're seeing, oftentimes, unfortunately, the filterless expositions of their military parent go off on civilian issues, their military issues, or government issues, or how they've been treated. So then you've got this whole generation of military dependents that are seeing and being adversely affected on how their parent was treated. So
it sounds like a terrible cycle. It really does. It sounds like something that, unless that cycle is broken, they could really spiral into that.
It's affecting not just our combat veterans, but it's also affecting their families. It's also affecting their spouses. It's also affecting their parents.
And all of these people are our neighbors. They're our community members. They're
absolutely.
our neighbors. We are shopping with them all the time. We don't even know when we're passing these people, and we just need to really recognize humanity.
Yeah,
we really do.
And I think that because of how the Vietnam, I am in contact and connected to a lot of Vietnam era veterans, and so I think we had a heightened sense of awareness of how the Vietnam era veterans were treated, and that was horrendous. And it's inexcusable because these men were conscripted. They didn't sign up to go to war many times. There was a draft in place. However, when they came back and they faced this just horrible treatment by the civilian community, they didn't have any expectations. They didn't have any expectations of getting help, receiving help, of being honored, of dignity or anything. So they knew we're on our own. Now there's kind of this false sense of assistance created almost. The assistance really is there, but because the combat veterans were 80% National Guard, that means they weren't in a military community at a military base where everybody's talking to each other. Wives are saying, oh, these people helped me. Oh, I got help here. Oh, I did this. I was able to do that. They're going back.
That's a whole new conversation for me.
They're going back to their little towns in their small populated states. They did an honorable thing. They served in the country. They served in the National Guard. They were deployed. They came back, and they came back to not knowing what was going on, which was really the foundation of how we got started. Was a woman whose husband was in the National Guard, who was wounded, was talking to someone who was in her husband's unit, and she said, oh, my husband's having nightmares, he's having headaches, he's having these problems and that. And she said, well, honey, that's PTSD. Why don't you connect with these people? And she said, well, how would I have even known that this existed? So because of this caregiver's tireless efforts to research resources that she could then get out to her National Guard unit friends, that's the initial list that we started with.
That's a fascinating
story.
Yay.
So these things are, again, people that they want to say, these caregivers, they say, man, I don't want anybody to experience what I went through. I want people to know there's help out there. There's people that are willing to help. The money is there. The money is in the private sector. People are generous. The American public is, for all of our faults and foibles, they are one of the most generous people on the face of the earth.
On the earth, yeah, in the whole world.
And so we really try to get that communicated, not just to our military, our returning military. We really try to get it communicated to businesses, to other nonprofits that say, hey, look, we can work together and we can change the world.
Charlene, would you tell our audience about your Facebook page?
We have a Facebook page. It's Battle Buddy Info. We post all kinds of information, resource sites. We post resources on our Twitter. We're very highly proactive in getting out, especially on Military Monday, organizations that are helping veterans. So we publish a long list. Our Twitter account is Battle Buddy Info. We publish a long list again of organizations that specifically help military. So every Monday you can tune in and see, here's all the people that are helping and doing a good job at it.
And Charlene, if any of our audience wants to reach out to you and help you do what you're doing, how do they reach you?
They can reach us at battlebuddy at sbcglobal.info, sbcglobal.net, or they can always connect to us through our website, battle-buddy.info, and there's a contact us page. They can also see the history of Battle Buddy. They can see information about our military liaison, our caregiver director, and all of the people that are associated. So,
and if you didn't have a pen and you didn't catch that,
it's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom of this video, and you'll also find it associated with everywhere that you hear this recording. And of course, in the 2-page spread of the Offbeat Business Magazine, where we are out to share and support everything you're doing, Charlene. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate it.
Friends, this has been the Offbeat Business Show. Know that you can find our lineup, our replays, and the magazine, so you can sign up for your very own and learn throughout the years. I don't imagine our relationships going anywhere. We're just going to get bigger and we're just going to get stronger. Okay, so whenever you want this information, you can find it at offbeatbusiness.com. This is Susan Hamilton. You've been listening to the Offbeat Business Show.